some things that you can do to shift your energy are working with mudras, with hands. And there's so many nerve endings on your fingers. But think of, but your hands are like they are to the outside world, right? They're receiving and giving constantly, getting messages. So even just bringing your hands to one position is going to shift the energy to calm, or sometimes they can be energizing. And you'll see statues of Buddhas and so forth with different hand gestures. These are very, very old. So the first one that we'll do is to place your left hand on the bottom and your right hand on top. And you could lower your hands to where it feels comfortable. It might be, resting your elbows on your thighs, or you could hold this close to your heart. But really, you could be sitting anywhere, right? You could be on a bus. You can be in a hospital room. Yeah. Exactly. Just quietly. And this is yoga. So you bring your thumbs together and set your mudra and begin to just start with a deep breath in. And you can breathe out almost like you're fogging a mirror out through your mouth. And if you need to let go more, you'll breathe out a few more times through the mouth. And then begin to just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, unless you're stuffy. And feeling your seat, your sit bones, everything connecting to the floor. Connect a little deeper. And that right hand just resting in the palm of the left hand. Like you're holding water in that cup you're filling up. And when you're ready, you can rub your hands together, get them nice and warm, and cup your eyelids. Just bathe your eyes in the warmth of your hands. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes.
Yum, yum, yum.
So that's a lovely, just balancing one. And that is a mudra that I do frequently whenever I need just to have a little more calmness, a little more balance. And it's, nobody will even know what you're doing, right? And if they ask, you tell them, you share, and you spread that.
Yes, yes.
So for this, Ganesha is a remover of obstacles. And you'll take your left hand in front of you, palm faces out, right hand on top, and then cup your fingers together, and the thumbs can just land wherever they want to land. And you could, think of the obstacle that you want removed, and then pull the hands apart. On the exhale, and then inhale, let breath flow in, just release around that. Let's do that 2 more times. Take an inhale, fill. Exhale in strength, pull the hands apart and notice how your navel begins to draw back. You get taller. And then let the inhale flood in. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, pull apart. And then you can let that go and shake out your arms.
So cool.
Right. So before we get started with any of the movements, I'm going to just do a breath with you guys, the breath of joy.
Mm.
Now this you could do anywhere as well, but you might need a little more room.
Okay.
But you could do it also in a hospital room if you wanted to, and it's a great way to wake up. So I'll just demonstrate it, and if you want to do it with me, you can too as well.
Okay.
So it's going to be a 3-part inhale. So inhale, 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 and exhale, bend the knees, just let yourself go. So I'll just do it now. And then you just stand, and I like to take my left hand on my heart, right hand on top. This is mudra of compassion. And what that mudra does, it brings us into balance. It also, your left hand is your heart hand, connected to your heart side. And that releases oxytocin, the feel-good hormone. And who doesn't need that? Right? I'll give 2 options for this pose, but this is child's pose. My toes are together. And I'm going to just lengthen my body down onto the floor. If your head does not reach the floor easily, you'll take your forehead and put it on a cushion or on a block. But you really don't need to go out and buy a bunch of props or anything. You can just use what you have in the house, like a rolled up towel or a cushion. And child's pose, so that would be on the floor. But if your knees are bothering you, first step, I would say take a blanket, put a blanket on the floor. And if they're really bothering you, take your feet, lie on your back, take your feet together, just let your knees fall out, and you can reach your arms overhead. So that pose, bringing ourselves too close to the ground with our third eye, our forehead, is calming the mind. You're allowing yourself, if you're face down, to feel kind of your belly breathe into your thighs. And very grounding, very calming. If you're doing it on your back, think about, because you can feel your back on the floor, feeling your lower back where your kidneys are and your adrenals, breathing into them. We breathe 360 around our body. And one thing that's good about doing a lot of things on the floor is that it allows you to feel your own body expand and contract into the floor. Super calming, super grounding, and that added extra little touch of the forehead to the ground so calming for the mind. Sometimes if your thoughts are spinning, you can roll your head a little bit side to side, whether you're on your back or on the front. The next pose I'll show you is also, if you know your knees are sore, you can place a blanket under your knees. So my hands are right underneath my shoulders, and I'm feeling into every single finger pad. We don't do a whole lot with our hands during the day, right? We do our same actions, computer or whatever, maybe cooking, but a lot of our hand movements have been outsourced. We can buy vegetables that are already cut up. We can buy pre-made food and so forth. We're not digging for our food and gathering, really, unless you, I do grow a lot of my own food, but not everything. My knees are under my hips and my feet, my toes are spreading, and I'm pressing the tops of the feet in the ground. And that is like really waking up the core. And it's nice to think of the core, not just the belly, but just like this center heartwood through the body. And then that connects to our spine. So as I inhale, I'm going to drop my belly, lift my shoulders, lift my hips, and follow my nose tip up. And then exhale, I'm going to just follow my nose tip as I roll my spine into this cat-like shape. So coordinating breath and movement. So inhale and exhale. It's said in yoga that the Kundalini energy sits in the base of the spine, and it won't rise if our chakras are blocked. And whether or not you believe in chakras, just think about your spine for a moment. When you do those undulating movements, you may feel that, ooh, there's a part that is really kind of, I'm not going to say if you have real back pain or problems, that's something you need to honor. But there are areas of the body where you might think, wow, like my throat is very congested. Why is that? Am I holding things back? Am I not speaking my truth? Am I too afraid to speak because of what I might incur or what I might hear back? So that simple movement that animals do to wake up the spine, to bring up energy, is something that you can work with every single day. Another movement that is also very grounded and simple, and depending on where you are in your healing journey, sometimes you need more rapid movements, but sometimes you may feel depleted and you actually need to slow down even more. So another nice movement is to also just stretch one leg back, toes on the ground, and just stretch the opposite arm forward. So you feel kind of like long energy, front, back, and a sealing into the body left to right. Like hugging is so important. And then you could lift that leg and either, draw in and curl in like a cat. So you're challenging your balance, but you're also doing this with mindful breath, keeping the gaze at one point and focusing on your inhale and exhale. So that's now that you would do that 2 sides. If you feel that you want to take a downward dog. Basically, it's like a table. You tuck your toes, lift your hips high, lengthen your arms. And this shape, it's not only nice and strong, but think about every time you put your head below your heart, what that means to you symbolically, to let the energy of the heart drop into the head. And from here, you could walk your feet up to the top of the mat. And again, just feet, hips width distance apart, soft knees, drape and sway, just letting that beautiful spine lengthen. Don't worry about how long your legs are and how fancy you look. Just awakening that energy through the spine and feeling the beautiful head drop below your shining heart. To come up, you could take your hands to your shins, feel the length of your back again and broaden through the collarbones. Exhale, we bow, touching the earth. And inhale, strong legs, rooting to rise all the way up. So here I'm in a mountain pose. This is a basic pose in yoga. My feet are together or you take them apart. This pose is affirming our upright shape on the earth, our resilience. It takes a lot to stand up. We had to do a lot as children to get to this point, to have the curves in our spine and the arches in our feet and the balance to stand up. But think about how a mountain, it takes a cataclysmic event to create a mountain in nature. And each and every one of us has our own stories. But in this shape, here we stand in our own resilience and our own beauty. And you can breathe fully through your whole body down into your feet. Another pose that you may be familiar with is tree pose. And the tree pose really teaches us not only balance, but the idea of spreading roots out. And what we know about forests is they have these incredible networks of roots and mycelium. They're working with other things to maintain the health of the forest. So even though we stand alone, we are always connected with the world. So very simply, you could take your right knee out and take the right toes on the ground and just have a little balanced tree. And I like to say to my students always, the lower body in yoga, from your navel down, this is your connection to the Mother Earth. As you move up, just like in the chakras, the energy is more, fiery and airy and so forth. So the upper body can feel liberated. And with the lower body rooted, you can lean or even look up and offer your heart to the sky. And when you're finished holding that, you can bring your both feet on the ground and stand. If you're first starting out to yoga, I think it's really important to pause in between these shapes and to notice the shifts that have happened in your, not only physically, but mentally, how you feel. Let's say you're at the end of a long day and you know that you're not going to get a lot of sleep, or you're in the middle of the day and you're just exhausted from whatever has been going on in your life, you could, if you have, you can just come onto the floor, lie down on the floor, and either scoot your butt so that you scoot your butt up and take your legs up a wall, take your head down, maybe a little towel or an eye pillow over your eyes, and just set, a timer in case you think you're going to fall asleep. But let your head, your heart be lower than your feet, because for the whole daytime, your head is above your feet. You give your circulatory, your lymphatic system a little rest. And that resting the back of your head and the quieting of the sense of sight, which is so powerful from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to sleep, just that rest, after just even a couple of breaths like that, or if you can do 5 minutes, you will have a more balanced energy and be able to go about your day in a more balanced, energetic fashion. The other thing that you could do, and everything that I'm giving you, you can just do in this, like, think of it as like really nutritious snacks, right? You don't have to do a whole 5-course meal. I love teaching hour classes, hour and a half classes. I love teaching workshops. But in my own practice, sometimes during the day, I just fit in a little bit of movement, some meditation, some chanting, and always nature, if I can. So whether you're on a chair or on a seat, on the ground, starting out by sitting upright. And again, this upper body is like your mountain rising, your lower body really rooted into the earth. You could take your right hand and cross it over your left thigh and inhale. And on the exhale, turn. Turn on the exhale because we have room to turn. And you could follow your gaze over your left shoulder or turn your head to the opposite direction. Eyes always soft. And hold for a few more breaths. And come back to center. And it might feel really nice to place your hands on your thighs. It's like a seated cow. Inhale, lift your heart. The gaze, arc the spine, and exhale, curl in. And then you take that to the other side. The neck is part of the spine. The neck goes all the way up here. So I know from my friends who are body workers, especially during COVID, many people are complaining about neck, jaw, and shoulder issues. And if you're living with continuous stress day after day, do yourself a favor and take care of this part of your body as well. Just bring awareness to that. Another thing you can do if you have neck and shoulder tightness is stretch both hands out to the side. And remember, you can always do this on a chair. You don't need to be sitting on the ground. I'm going to reach my right arm up, and I'm going to lean my right ear over to the right and just gently take my fingers, not heavily, to my left ear, and let the weight of my hand draw my ear away from my shoulder. You can look up or close your eyes. And come back through center. And then you would do it on the opposite side. The last pose on every yoga class is called Shavasana. And Shavasana means corpse pose. So not to be morbid, but we take this letting go. You know, death is a letting go. And so we practice this letting go so that then we come up renewed. So it's like a death into a rebirth. So to set up the Shavasana, you would lie on the ground. And you can just let your feet open up and the feet drop out to the right foot to the right, left foot to the left. Your palms facing the sky in a receiving gesture. Again, putting something over your eyes is so important. Just to like block out the light and just rest, go internal. The internal going inwards is called pratyahara. It's one of the yogic practices. And if you're watching this and you want to set up your body on the ground and just lay your body on the ground with the palms up, the legs long. And if your lower back is tight, you can put little pillows under your knees. And now you begin to watch your breathing just go a little shallow. And as you're lying here, think of you're here on the earth, and everything that you want to have to need to let go of, the earth will receive. The earth will receive that. The earth is already receiving you. And every part of your being, let yourself feel every part of your being that is touching the earth get a little heavier. And observe that letting go. And where there are areas of tension in your body, let those areas be called to the areas that are more spacious and that are letting go into the earth. And as you begin to let go completely, you'll notice that you also feel lighter. And you can rest here in the very fullness of your being, resting in Shavasana for as long as you need. And then after you would take that time for yourself, you would curl up into a little ball, hugging your knees to your chest, giving yourself the most beautiful hug, the most beautiful comfort. And you might turn to your right side so that your heart can stay high. You might touch your forehead to the ground and then rise with the strength of your hands, head being the last thing to rise, coming to your seat, bringing your hands to your heart center. With eyes soft, bow your forehead to your hands. And we could take one Om together. Take a breath in. Om. With your thumbs at your heart center, knowing fully that right intention leads to right action, and to your lips to right speech, and to your third eye center to clear seeing, knowing, and thinking. May we all be healed, and may we all know that we are made of love. Namaste.
Amazing. Even just like taking it all in was amazing. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pam, for all of your wisdom and love and those beautiful poses that you shared with everybody for today. It was wonderful. I'm so happy that I was able to get you on our TV series, and I do hope that you'll come back.
Oh, I would love to.
Oh,
Yes, I would love to. And I just love what you're doing. And my heart goes out to all of you in the heart to heart sphere.
thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.